Welcome to Workcraft, the behind-the-scenes side of craft work. We're in the studio and I'm about to warp my loom, which is nails on a piece of plywood. And this loom is for a piece of clothing that I'm going to make with some fabric and yarns that I dyed. So I actually already had this front piece made and set up. As you can see, there's nails that are spaced appropriately for the way that I want my yarn to be. I adjusted it a little bit. I usually weave at a 1/4 inch spacing, but I'm actually going to weave this at a 1/2 inch spacing. So my bottom nails are set up for that 1/2 inch mark, and the top nails are still at the 1/4 inch, so I'm just going to use every other one. So in weaving, if you don't already know, the warp is the vertical yarn that sort of acts as the backbone for the rest of the weaving and holds the structure. So I'm using a yarn that's pretty strong. It holds up to me pulling on it, and that's going to be my warp. I'm going to put my ball of yarn in this little quart bucket that I have on the ground so that I can easily pull up from it and it doesn't go running all over the concrete floors of my studio. And then this is a particular type of loom that has been around since ancient Peruvian times, but I used a lot during my time with Friends of Light, which was a business that I owned with a couple other women, and we figured out a way to use this fully selvaged weaving loom in order to make clothing and to weave clothes that are fully selvaged. And now what that means, the selvage is, you can think how the word sounds, like self-edge. It is where the yarn turns. So typically in a weaving, the selvages are only on the verticals, like on the right and the left side. But with this type of loom, you're able to create selvages on the top and the bottom as well. And the reason for that, you can see how my yarn is turning, as opposed to with a lot of looms, you wouldn't have a turn at the top and the bottom. You'd have ends that you'd have to cut. But with this loom, it's turning. So as I do this, I'm holding a significant amount of tension. So here I'm in a spot where I've come down to the bottom and I need to warp this top corner. So sometimes these boards in particular, when they're shaped, it's kind of tricky to like plan it out. And you sort of just like figure out what makes the most sense. So I'm gonna pop off from the bottom and just fill in this corner. And then I'm going to snake my way around this curve. Let's see, there's a lot of like moments to figure things out here. I'm going to hook on here and I'm actually going to start filling in from this side now because I like to have that piece there on that curve. And, oh, I'm realizing that I do need a nail right there, so. Okay, now I should be ready. I'm gonna tie my knot off here. I'm realizing I also made another mistake. I should have started over here so that I could catch this curve on the neckline. I like for there to be a piece of yarn that runs along any of the curved areas on these types of looms. It just adds like a little extra stability to those spots on the garment. But that's an easy fix. I'm going to tie this off here and then I'm just going to put another piece of yarn over in that area. So the tying off of this is a little like complicated. I want the tension to stay really nice, so I'm going to go down like an inch or so and tie a slip knot while holding the tension. And then I'm going to hope that that stays tight enough when I let it go up to its nail. And I'm always kind of slow at tying slip knots. I don't know if the way I do it is like the most efficient way. If any of you weavers or stitchers or textile people that might be watching this have a tip for slip knot tying, I'll take it. And yeah, that's perfect. All right, so now my loom is all warped and it's ready to be woven on. I'm going to be weaving it with some yarns and fabrics that I dyed, which I mentioned earlier. If you have any questions about my process in the weaving or the dyeing, you can go ahead and leave those questions in the comments below. And if you liked this video and you'd like to see more, there's a little button that says subscribe. We would love it if you subscribe. There will be more workcraft and craftwork videos coming. And there's also some live streams of Mike and myself walking around the neighborhood and hopefully in the near future walking around the greater 5 boroughs of New York City. So thanks for watching and I hope to see you all soon.